In this how-to, we are going to see that how to retrieve the saved images into the database and show them on the page. This is very frequently asked a question in the forums, that we are able to save the records, save the images into the database, but how to show them on the page. So here I am going to cover this. So for that, what I have done is that I have created a grid view. Because generally these kind of questions are asked related with the grid view, that how to retrieve, how to show the saved images into the database into the grid view. So that's why I have taken this example. However, this how-to is valid in case you just want to show one images anywhere on the page as well. So let me first create a grid view in my page. So here is the grid view, and I'm going to explain everything here, so please don't worry about it. Okay, so this is my grid view. Now first let me talk about this grid view, what is inside this grid view. Grid view is basically a data control in ASP.NET that is used to show the data in the tabular format. And here we are going to see the data of my files table in the tabular format. So first column will be auto ID, second column will be the name of the file, and the third column will be the actual image that is being saved into the files database table, and the fourth will be is active, whether that field is true, whether that record is true or false. The most important code is here, where we have written img src equal to show image.ashx, and auto ID will be the auto ID of that particular record, and then alt I have written, so that if image will not be displayed, then this alternate text will appear as the file text. Now what is this ashx? Ashx is nothing but a handler, a generic handler file. I am going to show you that as well here. So the very important point is this one. In case you will have to show any image that has been saved into the database, in most of the scenario you will have to use the generic handler that comes in ASP.NET. So first let me create the code behind for this particular page. So here is the code behind, where I have a first constr variable in the page label, and then we have in the page load also. So here is my page load event, and yes, so let me see. Yes, and then here, and then here. I think we are done. Yes. Now let me go through the code that we have in the code behind. In the code behind, first we have a page level variable called _constr, where we are retrieving the web.config file connection string and saving into the _constr. And then if the page is being loaded for the first time, then it will be if not each post back, then we are calling bind files method. In this bind files method, that is of private nature, we are instantiating this data table and then instantiating this SQL connection using the connection string, and we are executing the select statement. In real case, in real scenario, you should use the stored procedure that I had covered in the previous video. And then we are instantiating the SQL command by passing the SQL that we want to execute and the connection string, the database connection, and then instantiate the data adapter by passing the SQL command, and then call the fill method that will basically fill the records from this files table, database table, into the data table variable. And then what we are doing is that we are setting the data source of the grid view as the data table, and then we are calling a data bind that will basically populate the record from this particular database table into this grid view. Fine. Now let's talk about this show image.ashx, that is the generic handler. So let me create my generic handler as well, and here is my code of the generic handler. So let me copy from here and right click this project, click add new item, and select generic handler from here. This is generic handler, and let us name it as show image. So let me refresh this. Let me copy paste the entire code so that automatically things will be replaced here. So here is my code, and naturally we will have to use some namespace. So system.configuration, and then using system.data and using system.data.sql client. Fine, so most of the things are here, and then I think we are done almost. Yes, and let's rename this name of the handler to showimage.ashx. okay, now let's try to understand what is inside this handler. Now here what we have is that first we have checked using the context object. You do not need to worry about these things, because whenever you will create the handler, automatically this process request with HTTP context as the parameter and this is reusable will be written. So I am just using the same thing. The code that I have written here is from here to here. So here I am checking if auto ID query string is not coming into this handler, then simply return, means do not do anything. In this case we are passing auto ID here, auto ID as the auto ID of this particular record. So naturally auto ID will come on this so image.ashx handler file. So if it will come, then it will go ahead and it will come here, and it will first retrieve the connection string from the web.config file, and then it will retrieve the auto ID from the query string and save into the auto ID string variable. Then what we are doing is that here, instead of saving into the string variable, you can cast it into the integer and save into the integer variable as well. And then what we are doing is that we are instantiating the SQL connection, and then we are trying to get the file content, because in the file content field itself we have saved the image into the database. So we have retrieved the file content from the files table where auto ID is, whatever auto ID will be passed into this handler. And then what we are doing, we are adding the parameter, naturally auto ID parameter, because this select statement has auto ID as the parameter, and opening the connection and then reading. And then what we are doing is that we are using the SQL data reader and executing the execute reader method of the SQL command by passing command behavior.close connection. It means what will happen is that whenever the work of this SQL data reader is done, means whenever you will close the SQL data reader, then what will happen is that this database connection will be automatically closed. That's what this statement does. And once we have the file content into this SQL data reader object, then we are reading the file content, and using context.response.binary write method we are converting that file content into the array of byte, and we are writing on the page. On the page, it means that as a stream of this image source. So what will happen is that binary code will be written, and then that binary code will basically have the image content. So that's why the image content will be displayed in this of here. So now let me run this page and see what is happening. So I'm going to run this page here. So here is my page that I'm going to run, and you can see that one by one the page content should display. Now naturally it is not displaying. Now let me see what's the problem. Yes, the problem is the name of the class name is showImage, but here we have referenced as handler, the default name. That's why this problem was coming. Now let me refresh this page again, and you can see that all the images are displaying from the database. Here article is not being displayed because article was the text file. Okay, so naturally it will not be displayed as the img src. Now let me just walk through all the steps that we have followed. The important point is not here grid view, but the important point is this img tag. So I have img and then src equal to the handler, and I have passed the auto id of the record whose image I want to show. And in this generic handler, what we have done is that we have retrieved the auto id, and we have retrieve the file content, and using content.response.binary writer we are converting the content into the array of a byte, and that is being ultimately specified as the imgsrc, and as a result the image from the database is being shown here. So here till now we saw that how to show the images into the grid view. What if we have to just show one images without using the grid view? That was also pretty simple, but let me just cover it here. So here in this case what we need to do is that we need to hard code the auto ID. So let me hard code the auto ID. Let me see what is into our database. So in database we have auto ID 5. So let me show the .NETFunda.com logo here. So auto ID is 5. So I will write 5 here, and alt I will specify as .NETFunda.com. Now what will happen, because it is again the src of this image tag is show image.ashx auto id equal to 5. So what it will do is that it will go to this handler and it will retrieve the file content of the record whose auto id is 5, and it will convert that content into the area of a byte, and it will show as the src of this particular image tag. Let me run this page and let me show you. See here, this image is displaying. Now let's change the value. Let me show you my funda logo. So 7, auto id is 7 here, so I'm just changing it from 5 to 7, and now here instead of this my funda logo should show. You can see here.